You have to bear with me. I mute myself because I'm getting ready to get unloaded. I'm putting equipment away. But child support is one, child support collections by the state is unconstitutional, and they cannot make you do it, but you don't know how to defend yourself on that. I always recommend, there's a guy on YouTube, his name is Rick W., and I would watch his videos religiously if you want to know about child support. The guy knows his stuff.
Okay.
So that's all he concentrates on, is he don't concentrate on nothing else except child support. And he won't talk to you, so don't try. But if you email him, he won't even respond to emails generally either. But I do know he has a file of all the documents, your what they call your motions, your petitions, everything already a template format, because he's done all this stuff himself. Because he's an ex-cop. No, he's a cop in Long Island, New York, and his wife went after him for child support, and he could get nowhere. And he finally, when he studied the law, and he figured out everything, so now he teaches it, and that's all he concentrates on. So me, I could help, but look, this guy is an expert. I'd listen to him.
All right. Okay. The question about the bonds. He's saying in a Zoom you mentioned inserting an exemption bond
into a case file. Yeah.
Yeah. But that was the GSA Zoom, right?
Yeah, that was a GSA bonds. So that we would have to discuss it sometime. I know that Eon talked about using the SS4 to pay your child support. Don't know, haven't done it. It sounds reasonable. That's all I can tell you.
Someone's making noise.
Me, I'm making noise.
Can you repeat?
I'm a noisy flatbedder.
Eon has what? I'm sorry, just a sec. Eon has what?
Eon did a video on using the SS4, I think is what it was, to pay your child support. It sounded reasonable, sounded possible once you kind of know how to navigate the money system. Don't know if it works or not because I've not been in a position to have to use it.
SS4 is the EIN, the 98 EIN, correct? That's how you get your 98 EIN from the IRS. Am I correct? When you say SS4, because that's the 98 EIN form.
I don't know. I would have to go find the video, to be honest.
Okay.
Alibertatum, if you have time, could you give us a link to the YouTube Rick W guy later? You could do it later.
Oh, you just type into YouTube.
All right, he's just having trouble. He can't find it.
Just type in Rick space W, the letter W.
All right.
And his channel is titled Rick W. You will find the channel.
So what if it's somebody that needs to collect child support? There's no
well, unfortunately, madam, you're not going to like me.
I know it's an agency, it's a third party, but there are some men out there that do not want to take care of their kids.
You are correct, but here's the thing. We talk about how the court's violating our rights, right?
Exactly. I know that.
Yeah, if the state, it is unconstitutional for the state to force collections. If you interfere with his rights, you lose your rights too. Honestly, I think if the father's going to make an attempt to pay child support and he's making an honest attempt, he should see the kid. The problem is most women don't see it that way. But I think the state needs to stay out of it. We've got the state too damn busy in our familial affairs, and we're getting screwed.
I agree with that. I agree totally. I know how the system is. I know how the system is so corrupt, and I believe that we all agree on that.
Yeah. But if he don't pay, you don't need to see the kid. To be honestly, that's it. Bottom line. You don't need the state to tell you that. You don't need the state to force him to pay child support because that's unconstitutional. So just if he don't pay, hey, you don't need visits.
Mm-hmm.
You're a deadbeat dad. You don't need your kid.
Exactly.
But if you're working at McDonald's making $150 a week and all you can afford to do is pay me $50 a week or $25 a week and that's the best you can do, that's the best you can do.
I also see it fair that way also. It was just a question, you know, I didn't mean to come against you or anything. I was just wondering.
No, you're not. No, you're fine. You didn't come against me because the reason I said you may not like me is a lot of the women in different groups I work on Facebook I've been in, they raise hell about how the deadbeat dad don't pay no child support, but on the other side of their hand, they're screaming because the family courts are abusing their rights. I said, wait a minute. You reap what you sow. Child support collections by the state is unconstitutional, and you demand that the state goes after his rights. So guess what? In turn, you lose your rights.
Sadly.
You're not protecting his rights.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't like that at all.
I mean, it's the truth, really. I'm agreeing to what you're saying, but I also disagree with the fact that, well, I mean, if that's what title they want to be dead, then so be it. So be it, definitely.
I mean, shoot. I mean, there's other ways to support your child other than that. I mean, look, most relationships, there's other ways to support your child. But most relationships don't stay amicable like that. Hey, say the guy's out of work. Should he have to pay child support? No, he's out of work. But can he say, hey, you need me to watch our kid so you can go take care of something? Here, I'll take care of it. I'll give you a break. You need one. You've been taking care of our kid all this time. Let me have him for a couple of days, right? To let the mother have a break.
Communication.
Because communication is everything. But the problem is most people can't stay amicable. I mean, shoot, my first wife, I don't talk to her no more, but we're still amicable when we do. I mean, I don't hate her.
I call it maturity.
Yeah.
You call it amicable. Okay. I can understand that, definitely.
Now, I did before I knew about law. Yeah, I paid my child support.
And you know what? I thank God. I thank the Most High. In my situation, He has always supplied every need. Now, mind you, I do have friends that would hate you. I don't hate you. I have friends where they don't have the availability of having a good job, you know, good job, and it's sad to say they have 2 or 3 kids, and the child support doesn't come on time. And now there are women, and I'm going to be truthful and honest, there are women that are asking for a child support. See, here in Texas, I believe it's 20%, I think, that the woman gets.
It's generally 20 to 25% on per state.
Okay, depending on how much the gentleman or the father receives. Now, there are women that will go after, you know, and try to be dependent on their ex. Okay, I disagree with that because I believe that a woman should be independent. It didn't work out for the safety of the children. If there's violence involved, there could be so many things involved. But if you're doing, you know, it can be so many things. But I agree in fairness and communication is the key. I believe that's important.
Now, hey, I got men that don't like me. Because why? I'm a firm believer that that child, at least until the age 12, needs to be with the mother. Unless
Okay.
she is
Hmm.
absolutely a
Okay.
sorry piece of crap, needs to be with the mother. Because there are certain things a mother cannot do, and that man needs to go out and be the breadwinner, get a job, do things. And if you can't be together, you still need to get out there and work your ass off.
Hmm.
It's the way God designed it,
Hmm.
you know. So I got guys that don't like me because of that. And I'm like, I don't care. We have
Hmm.
gotten away from what was intended by nature so far that our society's out of control,
Hmm.
and everybody's wondering what the hell's going on. It's because we went away from what was designed by nature.
Hmm.
I mean, it really just boils down to pride. I mean, you liked each other enough to have sex, but yet you can't get along. It's pride.
Hmm.
Neither side wants to admit they're wrong. And you're a Christian, as am I.
Right. And I believe it's the unfitness of the individual, either the father or the mother. There are some parent, pretty much one is unfit or the other is unfit. And, well, they either have to um, raise their kids alone as a single mother or a
Well,
single, because I've seen cases where mothers don't care. They go out partying, mind you, they go get drunk, and
oh yeah,
CPS comes in and bombards the house and get their rights taken away, and then it's just a big mess.
it is.
Mhm.
And then the system traffics our children for money.
Exactly. There you go. And that's this. It's just the circle of life, like the Lion King.
Yep.
Okay, Alibertatum, I've got two more questions. The first one is just yes or no. Do you believe in the A for B process?
Does it make sense to me? Yes.
All right.
Do I have I yet to be successful? It depends on how you define it. Uh,
It's complicated.
yeah, well, I did do it. You saw my tender of payment, Marie.
And they
Because I
didn't
do share
return it.
things. Yeah, you they didn't return it. And every time they called me wanting money, I said, hold up. The CEO of the company has my freaking tender of payment. He kept it. According to the terms of the contract, it's paid. Oh, well, we'll have to we'll have to find out what's going on. I said, please do.
Mhm.
Okay.
Couple days
Somebody
later, they try to call again.
somebody wants to know if you'll give access to your recordings for your Thursday night meetings, the 6 to 9 Thursday meetings.
Uh, what I'm planning on doing, and right now, my assistant Christina, her Dropbox is down. She can't make the monthly payment this month. As soon as she does, I'm going to take those videos, because Tuesdays and Thursdays are a free for all general discussion. So what I plan on doing is taking those and posting them on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Now, paid classes, when I start doing those, no.
All right.
Because
Thank
as
you.
Marie knows, certain things need to stay in the private.
What is your contact information? I'm sorry. Nice to meet you. It's my first time hearing.
Yeah, I'm quiet a lot because I'm always on the darn phone. Look up my page, The Rights of the Few. Marie can help you find it if you need
Okay,
something.
I will ask her. Yes, definitely.
And my contact information's on there. And yes, I do assist people. I can tell you now, I've been to a degree successful. I've actually helped a truck driver on a careless and reckless. They wouldn't even let me in the courtroom. We handled everything privately outside the courtroom. They threatened me with unauthorized practice of law. I said, that doesn't apply to me, thank you. I said, I've got this document here that says I'm his attorney. In fact, I can handle everything in the private. Well, yeah. We know you can. You just can't go in that courtroom and do things. I said, I'm here to handle this thing privately. Let's come to a meeting of the minds. And I got his careless and reckless dropped, and they dropped it down to a improper lane change. And he agreed to that, accepted it, and paid the fine. Because a careless and reckless would have cost him his job. And anyway, they already knew I'd caught him in fraud because it was a warrantless arrest, and a warrantless arrest by a cop that he had to have actually seen it. And they knew I knew he didn't see nothing. So they didn't want it to go to court.
So I take it, is that a federal, state court? What court was it, or just county?
That was a West Virginia magistrate court, like no different than traffic court.
Yes, just wow, simple as that. Okay.
Yeah, I quasi represent people.
Mm-hmm.
I can represent people in court, but that's a slightly different process than a straight statutory power of attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have to physically write out the power of attorney. So I'm very selective when I do those cases because I'm limited to 3 of those a year because I'm not a bar member. Needless to say, bar members don't like me. And my dad will tell you, he does install work. And he done some installations at this guy's house who was an old attorney. He's no longer practicing. He worked in the IT department for an international law firm. That one of their offices was right here in where I live. And he's talking to the attorney, and he says, yeah, my son has breached the veil on the law license. And the attorney says, do tell. He said, yeah, he figured out that whole thing on the power of attorney. And the attorney looked at my dad and said, he's absolutely right. He sure can. He said, but the problem is the bar will protect their interest. And that he said he'll be in for a fight. My dad told him, said, I don't think he cares. I fight for what I believe in. Any other questions?
Is your YouTube channel The Rights of the Few?
My Twitter, my YouTube, my website, and my Facebook group. Now, being a truck driver, it's slow. My assistant is slowly doing things. She has access to my Westlaw, so she's the one that really does most of the communicating with people, helping them get the documents they need and everything else. By the way, I will tell y'all, one of the most powerful things you can do in court, and everybody needs to know this, if you're in a court case, you need to object to everything the opposing attorney says. My assistant, Christina, she met me in January of this year. I taught her this. She will tell you, because of me teaching her this, 3 weeks after she went into court and she objected to everything the other side said. Every time they spoke, she objected. Look, if they got first-hand testimony, tell them to take the box. That's how she puts it. Tell them to take the box. And she said, 3 weeks later, they dismissed her case. She got her kids back.
What does that mean, take the box?
In other words, the longer version, what I tell people is, before the DA or the prosecuting attorney finishes their sentence, I object. Your Honor, I presume you know the rules. Does this attorney have some firsthand knowledge that they would like to testify to? If so, please have them take the stand and swear in under oath under a penalty of perjury. But if not, what has he got to say? And the judge may say, well, do you? And if he says no, then okay, shut up. Or the judge may say, oh, he's just discussing matters of law. Oh, Your Honor, do you're schooled in law. Do you need another man to tell you what the law is? Then you back him into a corner. And because of me teaching her, she taught a guy that just the other day posted on Facebook, he got his daughter back doing that very same thing. So I will tell you, Trinzi versus Pagliaro is powerful. And the reason you object is because everything an attorney says or does is hearsay.
Even when the judge pretty much says, you're practicing law, I object. Because the other side didn't say anything. The opposing party did not say anything.
No, the judge can't accuse you on. The judge cannot accuse you of practicing law on your own case.
It wasn't mine. It was a friend's. It was on child support also.
Yeah.
So he came to me thinking that it was my case, and I said, "Wait a minute, I'm just a translator." Okay.
Look, one of the things you can tell him is, look, I'm here as a third-party intervener.
I did say that.
And if you really want to get technical, look at him and say, sir, I'm here as a third-party intervener. I know you're familiar with the Book of Ruth.
Mm-hmm.
Because where does these principles come from? The Bible.
The Bible. It's illegal. Yeah.
Why do you think they've taught everybody to stay away from it?
Well, because that's the truth right there. They go by it. It was
yeah.
What was it called, lawful back in 1963 or even earlier than that. It was made.
Yeah.
And it can be used in the court.
Yeah. In 1982, the United States passed a public law that says it is the book of the land or something along those lines. I don't have it in front of me to quote it word for word, but you know what I'm talking about.
Correct.
Is there anyone that has a question about the creditor study group materials?
I do.
Okay.
When you're putting the stamps on everything, do you put a stamp on your endorsed birth certificate and sign that as well?
When you put a...
Can you repeat your question, Marty? I'm sorry.
I said when you are putting your stamps on your paperwork, do you put one on your endorsed birth certificate and sign that as well?
I put a 2-cent stamp on the back, but not on the actual birth certificate. that you are putting the banker's acceptance on.
Okay. So just put a 2-cent stamp on the back.
Right.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
think I have the statement you need to put just to the left of that is on my documents I have for you to look at.
Okay,
Now-
okay, okay.
Now, do you actually sign across the stamp?
Yes.
Yes.
And you put your EIN number over across the top and your thumbprint half on, half off on the left.
In
I
red.
wanted to make sure,
In
'cause
red.
I figured you was going to say that. Because you always sign across the stamp.
Yes, yes. Always, always.
I knew your voice, but hey, you're showing up as Dean, so you're there with him.
My
They're separate.
computer's not working, so.
Oh, okay.
By the way, y'all, if I was friends with y'all on Facebook before, and I'm not now, I have a new account.
Did Facebook shut down your old one?
I think someone else, I think I got hit by trolls. So, Marty, I know I sent you one. I think Karen, I sent her one. Chris, I sent her one, but not everybody. And this one is actually totally controlled and managed by the A Libertatum Maximus Trust. I just need to get off my butt and get the minutes written up for that, for me and the other trustee to sign, and send a memorandum of trust and the minutes to Facebook, because I got to double check. I found what appears to be their service of process address and let them know that this is managed by the trust, because what somebody did was reported as a fake account, I think. I went through rounds and rounds with them proving that I used that name. I mean, I produced a employment verification letter, a contract, and even went and got a company ID. They said, nope, we want your driver's license. I said, screw you.
Do we have any more creditor study group questions? Or updates?
Well, I can update you guys on my process.
Okay, great.
As you guys hear, I'm putting my stamps and signing everything. I have to redo my, what do you call it? My UCC with my stamp scanned in and stuff. So that way I can write the correct UCC number on my bond so I can send it to my people who are going to sign it.
Mm-hmm.
So once I do that, I'll tell you guys when it's on its way across country.
Cool.
You're making good progress. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. I still have some videos I have to go back and rewatch and scope out. So I'm just doing everything as a process, making sure everything's right.
David Ondai, are you still in the clear? You haven't received any bad news yet, like about what you're doing? You had good news that you weren't getting any negative feedback.
Yeah, nothing's new this week so far. I checked the case twice this week.
Now, the two witnesses on the bond, do they have to be secure party creditors, or will they just be listed as just pretty much regular witnesses? I've been told that they have to be secure party creditors. Is that so?
The sureties on the bonds?
Yes, yes.
Yes, they have to be secured party creditors that have gotten their correct green card back. And they're supposed to wait until their bonds are cured before they be sureties.
Okay.
So that's 90 days for the bonds to cure.
I heard someone say it this way, a couple people. And this is, I kind of look at things the same way. One thing in studying law is if you know the principles, you can develop your own methods, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've also heard it said that if you're going to be a secured party, you have to act like one.
Exactly.
So if you're going to be one, you have to learn how to act like one first, because your paperwork kinda is irrelevant. You can do all the paperwork in the world, but if you don't know how to act like one, all that paperwork don't mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Oh, and so an update. Y'all saw my post in the group about the declaration of status, the memorandum of trust, and all that.
Yeah.
So it is all registered at the Register of Deeds. Declaration of status. And I actually did what Sean did with the date of conception certificate and attached the county birth certificate with it. They first didn't want to actually register that. I am not going to swear to this. I thought the lady said, we can't register the other county's property. I didn't catch it. I thought that's what she said, and I wasn't recording. So I went back and questioned her on it, and she never used the word property again. She kind of ducked and dodged the question. But it's all registered, and they made me pay $281 for all of that. I'm like, holy crap. But yeah, my 2 trusts, my 2 memorandums of trust, 2 common law copyright security agreements for the names, and the declaration of status has all been done. Now I just got to go get it sent everywhere else.
I have another question. We have to have the certified copy of the authenticated birth certificate. So is that going down to your county office and asking for a certified copy? Or can you go to Kinko's and copy it and have it notarized as a certified copy?
Now, what birth certificate are you talking about? The one at the county or the one at the state?
The county.
The county, they don't certify it as a true copy. Okay, that one they're not allowed to. That's everything I'm finding in multiple different states. But what they do is this: you purchase it, they place their crimped seal on it, and sign it as authentic, and that's all you need. Now, then when you get that, you send it to the Secretary of State and have it authenticated. And then when it gets back, do your acceptance and acknowledgement, attach your affidavit as one of the owners of said certificate, and then you go and register it like you're supposed to do.
Because I would show you guys what I'm talking about, but I just sent I just got my I'm waiting for my passport to come back. Let me just say it like that. So I had to send off my authenticated birth certificate with my passport application. But I believe that's what I need to make copies of. Do you guys get what I'm saying?
Yes, you need a copy of your authenticated birth certificate to go into your pack.
And can I just go to Kinko's and get it copied?
Well, I'll tell you what I did. And Al is correct that if you go through the county, they can only copy it and say that they made an authentic or a true certified copy of that document, but it's not the same as a true as a true certified copy of the authenticated document. The only person that can give you a true certified copy of an authenticated birth certificate is the issuing party, which would be the state. So what I did was I just took a copy of my authenticated birth certificate, and then I wrote up a document which you guys have access to.
Yeah.
And I just put that in there with my authenticated copy.
Okay. So then what I was saying, I could go to Kinko's and copy it and do it that way with the notary. Yep. Okay. Okay. When my passport, when that comes back, my passport,
Marty,
then that's what I'll have to do. Yes.
Marty, heads up. The Secretary of State will not accept the county birth certificate in the packet. I'll tell you that now.
So I have to get, where would I get,
Hold on a second. Here you go. This is real simple. I do this all day, every day for people all across the nation. Take it to a notary, get it attested copy. Take that attested copy and get the notary to make the attested copy and have her seal on it. Here in Georgia, you got to go to the courthouse to get the acknowledgement of the notary. Get the acknowledgement of the notary. Take that stuff up to the Secretary of State and get an authenticated copy. That's how I do it all day long.
Now that can work.
Yeah.
But the Secretary of State doing what he's talking about is how, authenticating the county birth certificate. But I'm almost positive for the passport, they want to see that other one. They want to see the long format vital records.
Yes.
I mean, but if you do it right, okay. So for me, what I got, I have security paper, and I take it, and if I take my original document from vital statistics, take that, get it authenticated, scan that into the computer, make a copy of it, put it on security paper, and mark up on the top a true and correct copy as the custodian of the record, because nobody else has that document but me. Not even the Department of Vital Statistics has that document anymore, because I now have it. And if you look down on your birth certificates, well, at least in Pennsylvania, they have a red number down on the bottom. And that red number is succinct to that particular document. And I'm the only one that has possession of that document. Nobody else.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. Let me ask you a question, Penn.
Yes, sir.
Because this is the one thing I've never been able to get answered. And see if you know.
Okay.
Because what it's looking like on my wife's birth certificate, she was born in Germany because of military, right?
Okay.
So she has a consular's birth certificate.
Okay.
We sent that off to get it authenticated, and they won't authenticate it.
All right, let me ask you a question. All right, so you already answered the fact that she was born on a military base. Okay.
Well, technically, no. She was born in a German hospital to military family.
Right. Okay.
So she wasn't born on the base.
All right.
But it doesn't constitute German citizenship.
Right. Okay. So either way it goes, she was a child of military people who were stationed at a duty station, and she was born in a German hospital. Yes. Okay. The question now becomes, and it's so funny because I just looked at this the other day. If her parents, now I'm just going to say state of Pennsylvania because that's all I can attest to, because that's where I'm from originally.
Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia.
No, I mean, where are you from? Philadelphia. Okay.
Yeah.
They live in Harrisburg at the moment.
Oh snap! But
yeah.
Wait. Okay. The point of it is, and I don't know if I can find that, but if they were residents of the time that they signed up for military service, or something that.
When she came back, what they did was they came back to Illinois.
So it wouldn't work. You would have to be their parents. Oh man, I'm gonna look this up real quick because I just read it. But the wording on it, excuse me, and I'm gonna go directly to Pennsylvania website, see if I can duplicate what I did.
Man, I got Westlaw, so if you share what you find in Pennsylvania, that'll help point me in directions to find it in other states.
Yeah, just give me a second. I'm on there right now, and let me see.
Now, while you're looking that up, while you're looking it up, she's actually getting ready to order. I don't know if she's done it yet, but she did contact Germany because she didn't exactly get born on the base, but
right.
She was born in an actual German hospital, but it wasn't considered her getting actual German citizenship because she was still part of a military family.
Right.
But so she had to track down her German birth certificate. So she's tracked that down. She's got the file together she has to send to Germany to prove who she is, and then she's going to go get that birth record.
Okay, here.
I'm thinking with that birth record, she could claim statehood as a birthright and drop the U.S. citizenship altogether.
That sounds right, but no, it ain't gonna work. And the only reason why is because, all right, here we go. So this is Pennsylvania. Here's what it says. Can we register the birth of our child who was born in another country with the Pennsylvania Division of Vital Records? Yes. You may register your child's birth record if he or she was born in another country with the Pennsylvania Division of Vital Records. If either parent is a citizen of the United States and a legal resident of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So that's
when they went to overseas, right?
Yes, I'm assuming. Okay. And I thought it was military, but it was just basically the same foreign-born child.
Now
that's what it says.
I'm gonna share a couple of numbers with y'all. Write this down. Type it in the group. A buddy of mine sent me this. It's called U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Consular Affairs. Request for determination of possible loss of United States citizenship. And it's 5 pages, right? The form number is DS-4079, formerly FS-581, okay? The OMB number is 1405-0178. And now me and my buddy was discussing it. My buddy's a former Army Corps of Engineer, so he knows a little bit about how the system works, right? So we were discussing this, and I said, wait a minute. I'm wondering, can you use this today, right, as a state citizen and drop the U.S. citizen? He said, I don't see why not. But I said it would be something to look at. And being you're an expert in some of this stuff, Ben, you might be interested in that form too.
Yeah, especially since I'm a Native American.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna mute myself again. I got to put my chains away.
G-Pen, did you ever get a battery for your smoke detector?
I was just about to say that. That's funny that you say that.
It's been over 6 weeks now, dude.
Hey, yo, I was just up Philly a couple weeks ago.
They have 9 volts in Philly.
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm just messing with you, man.
No, you're fine. I went up to Philly. I was actually up in Harrisburg, and some of the stuff that I went through between vital records and authentications in Harrisburg, it was freaking ridiculous.
Well, what did you do? What did you do?
Well, I went up to Harrisburg to get my birth certificate changed to proper form, and I have a court order from a court in family court in Philadelphia, and they wouldn't take it. They're in fact, they took the paperwork and they said they had to go to legal because they said they couldn't change it. And I told them, I said, well, you are in essence, you're in contempt of court because that's a court order. So if you're not going to do it, you're in contempt of court. And that's what I'm looking at possibly now, taking the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to court to sue them.
To fix your birth certificate?
Yes.
Why don't you just manage it at the health and vital statistics level?
They won't. You didn't listen to me, brother. They won't. They were attempting to. I was attempting to try to do that. They refused to do it. They took my paperwork and they said they had to send it up to legal.
I'm not talking about Pennsylvania. I'm talking about the organization in the actual department, the Health and Vital Statistics Department. Has nothing to do with the state.
Oh, you're talking about the one that's in, are they in Atlanta or Washington?
I thought they were like in Omaha or something. The same place we have to order our birth certificates from.
Huh.
Health and Vital Statistics records, because that's in my county, that's farmed out. So let me look it up.
Yeah, please.
Health and
You're
Vital.
talking about the national, that's the National Vital Statistics System?
Yeah, I believe from the CDC.
CDC, yep.
Yeah, you can handle. Can't you handle it on that level?
But see, it's going to take you right back to Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Because I'm on their page. How to get a birth certificate? Need a birth certificate? Use our state and territorial specific information to find out where to write. So they're going to send you right back to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
That's odd. So why don't you just make yourself a new birth certificate and apply through the CDC?
Yeah, probably have a tribe do it and have them submit it. That might be something to look at.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry I jumped in late. Can somebody give me a quick rundown of what we're talking about?
We're just talking about general discussion things, people asking questions, whatever. Now, since you asked the question you just asked by creating your own birth certificate, okay? I can tell you now, that a birth certificate isn't just hearsay. It's double hearsay. I found that in the rules in North Carolina. Now, if you remember, you've all heard when you go to court, they want you to accept the name, right? Why do they want you to accept it? Because it's double hearsay. They need somebody to admit to be that name. And it's admitted in North Carolina to be double hearsay. So the only person that has firsthand knowledge about you is you. So why couldn't you create one?
Well, I guess the question becomes on that date, who really has firsthand knowledge? Because I don't remember anything about being born.
Have you seen the video of John Ehrlich talking to
Johnny Carson?
Johnny Carson, yeah.
I did.
Man, that's right there. First 4 minutes. That was powerful. How do you know that's your name? Oh, I have a birth certificate. Hearsay.
Exactly.
You were born. We know you're born. You're here. But how do you know that's your name?
But you want to? Oh, if you want, you can take. I can take it even deeper. I have two different birth certificates with 2 different names on them.
You was adopted?
I was.
That's why. But they're both hearsay. It is somebody else claiming that is who you are. Now look, the Bible states something the other day. I had forgot about this, but somebody else brought it to my memory the other day, and I said, oh my God, didn't it say that, didn't God say, hey, I will give you a new name?
Not only that, you look at Jacob when he wrestled with the angel, and he says, "Thou name shall no more be Jacob, but Israel."
Israel, yes.
You go back, Abram.
Yeah, Abram was no longer Abram, but Abraham.
Exactly. Exactly. But the other thing, I'm going to share this. And I have to be careful of how I share this because it's not my information. It's a situation that I was made aware of by the person who went through it. So let me throw that out there first. Person got stopped. They gave him a card with a name on it. The policy enforcer put the name in the system. They could not find him in their system. So he was arrested because he wasn't in their system. And basically took him down to the station and held him for a couple hours. They ended up taking fingerprints and so forth and so on because they could not identify him. So that becomes another issue because they want you to claim the name. So how do we go about, even if we do put a birth certificate together, how do we go in and get it on the public record and to make sure that if the event that one is stopped, that the policy enforcer does not attempt to try to steal the body because the name is not in the system.
Hey, a gentleman always gives notice, brother. That should answer your question.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, you should give notice.
Now, maybe you should contact me. I got someone that lives just a few miles away from me that did the stuff I'm doing, and I'll have to walk you through it. She changed her name, and they leave her the hell alone.
You don't have to change your name. Some people do that, but you don't have to do that. I want to put that out there right now. So people are listening.
Yeah, you don't. You're right. But if you choose to claim the name, you still got to claim it properly. Okay?
Correct, but it's not a name that we're talking about to claim. People are calling it by the wrong terms. You're talking about the name on the birth certificate and what the birth certificate is evidence of. I'm going to back out here. I just want to make sure that misinformation doesn't go out there that you have to change your name, because you don't. That's all I was interrupting for.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay quiet here.
Are you referring to the uppercase, lowercase name change, boy?
No,
Yeah,
no, I'm not. But she
you
is.
don't have to. You don't have to change your name at all. That is, if people don't know what the all cap name and the birth certificate are evidence of by now, I'm not going to say it out here because of responsibility I hold. David, I hope you understand what I'm saying. But I wanted to get out there that this group is supposed to follow PJ's method, and you do not have to change your name. And I wanted to put that out here for people that are just now coming in or just now starting to listen.
Oh, I agree. That's not PJ's method.
I do disagree. I mean, I do not disagree with you. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that is right. But the government even tells you how to identify yourself. Remember, the SSA, they have a page where it tells you how they know your name. They don't recognize a middle name.
Yeah, I remember that.
No, I've been to court on this. I'm beginning to hearing. No. You have to learn it and know how to do it, and all. No. The government does not know your name. They know your birth certificate identifying evidence of something, and they in equity they join something for a trust. That's all they're doing.
That's right.
But we're going. I'm holding my tongue on this conversation, as you can tell.
I can tell.
I'm trying real hard not to be the bad guy. But
I think you're talking about the if I'm correct, because I feel like you can't say it, but I believe what you're talking about is I might be wrong on some of this, but I got a little acronym going here. It's the NHMF. It's your non-transferable widely held trust account, or some long name like that. PJ was just talking about it. That is actually the title, in quotations, of the straw man account.
Yes, it's a registered organization is what that is, yes.
It's not a, it's a whole.
That's for debt discharge, Marty, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not, the straw man is a wrong term, because straw man, how do I word this? Because nothing is legal advice, I'm going to say that.
Yes,
but you don't have to change your name. I know that for a fact. If you don't know what the birth certificate is and the evidence of what it is, and you can't stand in court and talk to the judge about what it is, how it is. I mean, there was a lady that just got 5.5 years for contempt of court because she said, I'm not that person. You don't know the difference between a person, a man, then you can't stand in court.
No, you can't.
You do not have to change your name. Your parents gave you what you are called, but you've got to know what is not yours. You've got to know what it is. And for me to stand up and tell somebody is only going to harm somebody that doesn't do the research. That's why I'm not saying certain things. People have to do their own research.
I don't disagree with everything you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Right. I understand. A lot of people in this room know what I'm saying. But you do not have to change your name. That I apologize some of this misinformation we've gotten out for years. Do not have to change your name. Your parents gave you the name you're called and the name on your birth certificate. You don't have to change it. Just open up the other one.
You don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I never said you had to. Okay.
Right.
I'm just saying it's a process. It's something you can do. There's many different processes. And all we were talking about that.
Well, the remedy. The remedy is in UCC 9, one of them.
Yes.
The remedy
that is correct.
In 31 USC or 31 CFR. You can go and find your remedies, but
that's right.
changing your name is only going to cause more confusion for you. You're taking control of something. 31 USC or 31 CFR 363.6. Learn those definitions. Then you'll know what you're doing.
Oh, I quote that. I quote that a lot.
But I can quote it, but people have to learn it and know what it means.
Exactly.
So
they do.
And I do apologize. That wasn't my intent to bring this up. I just happened to mention that.
Thank you.
We were attempting to get that on the record with vital statistics. And what I have is not a name change. I have an adoption, which is a decree.
Right.
That states that my name is.
Well, you've got two of them. And a lot of people are in that circumstances, but we got to the point of changing names, and that is definitely not what we're trying to do here. And I had to speak up. I'm gonna back up. Sorry.
I don't want it to be misconstrued that I'm saying you had to change your name. No, you don't. I'm just saying it is a process. I mean, it's something that some people do, some people don't. You got to. It's what I said earlier. You've got to know how to defend your process. If you don't know the process, you're not going to get anywhere.
I did send you a private message with my email address on there.
Okay.
Hey, can I update you on my bonds, the GSA bond? So I did what you said, and I mailed everything off. The GSA bonds got to the judge, and are you familiar with the Patrick Devine letter, I want my bonds back? Did everybody hear me?
Yes.
Now, what was that Patrick Devine letter again?
I want my bonds back. Are you familiar with it?
No, I've heard of it.
I sent a copy of it with my GSA.
Well, my personal opinion, being it is a trust, you were not the grantor, the state was. You can't exactly ask for something back because the trustees are the owners. And if the trustees are owners, all you can do is advise the trustees on how to manage it.
I think that's what happens in that letter.
Well, maybe it's because the way it was worded from that letter, as in I want my bonds back. You know what I'm saying? Technically, they're not yours. They're state creation.
But if the name was given to me by my parents, and the state fraudulently took it and illegally converted my name into a trust, a fiction, or whatever, without my consent or without my parents' consent, is that not fraud?
That's the problem. They didn't do anything illegal conversion.
No.
I can create a trust today and it looked like your name on it, but does that mean it's you?
No.
No.
No, you're wrong. Can I answer you, G?
But
you can have a trust for anything. You don't even have to tell the person they have a trust, but they've told us in the Constitution that we have a trust. The birth certificate. Okay, you look in admiralty. In admiralty, if you put your foot upon something, you're claiming that ship. So look in admiralty, they put the footprint upon the birth certificate, and you are claiming that trust. Okay? The government is a conservator. You'll hear, especially the Democrats will say, somebody needs to mute out. The Democrats especially will say that they're conservators for the American people. There's interest involved. It's not completely yours, but what the government has done is because your parents were considered minors, they were considered incompetent, they informed the government that a child was born, and they reserved it for you. Under 31 USC 363.6, they say that you have to claim it. If you are not competent enough to claim it, then you not know about that trust. Not fraud, it's evidence of a trust that you have to know about, and you have to know how to do it. That's what we're learning to do. They haven't done anything in fraud. They're taking care of you, but they're bad caretakers.
That's the truth.
Hold on, I'm talking to G a second. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to a point, but here's the thing, okay? They have created something, and they have a system that they're forcing me into, whether I like it or not.
Right, I agree. The world works a certain way. The Bible is our guide to how it works, or the Quran, whichever way, whether you're a Moor or whether you're a Christian. There used to be two, not all this, all over the place. That's the two ways they ran the world, and they told us the answers. But that's the way the world worked because the people became incompetent. They shall die for lack of knowledge.
Exactly.
We have to do what the word says, not what we want.
Right.
So that gives them a duty. Sorry.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Okay, perfect example. First-hand knowledge. On February 28, 2010, was in a hospital, and my wife gave birth to my daughter. I did not consent to a birth certificate. We were held hostage. We were held against our will. And basically, I put on this form that we do not consent, that is against our religious belief, and so forth and so on. And so basically, they ended up submitting a birth certificate anyway. But the thing about it is this. My daughter had no name until I got home. So what they have is some baby girl, whatever, period.
I'm gonna translate that to you by the government standards, and it's gonna be my bad way of talking.
Okay.
They have treaties that they have to have a birth certificate for every child born. And you were considered, and I'm assuming, so please don't get mad at me, I'm assuming you haven't claimed the trust, which under 363.6 says you have to not to be a minor. So therefore, they, under their rules, consider you and your wife incompetent. And no matter what you say, they gave that child a birth certificate because of that. So because of the rules, the hospital they were in, that's what happened. Now I'll be quiet.
Okay, so there's a guy that wears a little white nightie.
Lori, that one makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. We have to look at what the rules are. Go ahead, G.
All right, there's a little guy that wears a little white nightie, and he claims he owns all the souls on this planet. Bullshit.
Right.
Because you have some fucking people come in here, excuse my language, but have some people come in here who have these insane Gestapo, crazy Roman civil law. Doesn't apply to me. They're in essence forcing me. In fact, let me see if I got this, because I want to share something with y'all. I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. I know it's on one of these pages I got up here. I'll find it first before I share it. But I'm going to share this with y'all so that you can see.
You got to get past that anger. I know exactly what you're talking about. You got to get past that anger, because in everything they have to have a remedy. That's a maximum law, and we're
everything does, but they don't. I just got a letter in the mail today from a court case where I am the freaking plaintiff, and my case was denied because I didn't want to be a freaking I didn't want to be a person or a corporation.
I'm going to share something. This might be part topic, but if anybody's watched Jonah Bay's Junction video, he fills out the COL form, violation, warning, denial of color rights, and he makes this statement. This is what he says formally. He goes, I, John Scott, first lien holder of, last name, first, middle, first, middle, last, states and declare that I am not, nor have I ever been, or my property has been a U.S. citizen, because when contracts like that were done, I was a baby, which would make me legally disabled under the Baby Act. So there is no way I could have ever been a U.S. citizen, aka a 14th Amendment citizen. Then he cites 18 U.S. Code 221, conspiracy against rights, 2384, seditious conspiracy, 1581, peonage. Oh wait, those are different notes. I'm sorry. So anyway, his statement ends at AKA a 14th Amendment citizen. So maybe it will help with the, maybe knowing about the Baby Act will help GPEN. And there was a lot of static the whole time I talked. That sound like it's coming from me?
I don't know where it's coming from.
No, it doesn't sound like it's coming from you. But I understood what you were saying.
Yeah, if you watch the Jonah Bay injunction videos, there's 2 of them. He goes into this, and it's a brief statement. It's actually pretty cool. It's not part of PJ's process, but it seems handy to know about.
Would you be able to send the link of it to the Secured Predators chat group?
Those are paid for videos, and I have them hosted myself. I can try to send you a copy of them. They're very large.
Yeah, I actually have the injunction, but then there's a guy who has an injunction that actually taught Jonah how to do it, and the difference between the two are freaking night and day. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this here is a filing from out of state of Delaware. Okay. And I guarantee you, if you look up this group here, the company corporation, they're going to have one of their offices listed in a town near you. Okay. So United States of America Incorporated. Type of entity is a corporation, and the entity type is a religious nonprofit. Everybody see that?
Oh yeah, I've actually seen some of that stuff. I got to go find it. It's all of them are listed on the Department of Transportation's website.
So they're forcing you to be a U.S. citizen and be a part of their religious nonprofit corporation, which is against my religious belief. Excuse me.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. I had to excuse myself for a little bit. I was on the phone with Harry Baldwin. He's interested to know if there are any people in our group that are interested in taking his Coming Alive course. And if so, they will get a deep discount. I know this is the creditor study group, but anyway, not everybody in here. I don't think everybody in here is doing the Peter Lito process. So I wanted to put that out there. And then if you know anybody that might be interested, let me know, please.
Hey, G-Pen.
What kind of discount?
What kind of discount? A deep discount. Okay, so let me take a look at my notes here. Okay, so if we can get like about 10 people, he could do it for $150 per person. And let's see, if that include, if you want that to include the documents, then it's about $200 per person. And if you want an enormous cash supply of his CDs, which he has a lot of, it's $500 per person. Okay. And he walks people through, like if you do the docs for 200, it is, he walks you through and he helps to, he like mails you the stuff as you need to do it. He really walks you through it. And he's going to want to have an appointment with you, you know, as you go through the process, you know, like step by step. But I know we're mostly in here for Pito's process, but I wanted to present it to you first. I was intending to have like a little private invitation only Zoom, and I was going to, you know, get the invitees from this little group. And that's why I'm addressing you in the first place. Some of you are using his executor letters, I know that. So how's it going in here otherwise? Are we, have we covered everything about creditor study group that should be covered?
Blue asked me, I'm not sure who Blue is, but Blue asked me what process I did, what do you call it? Get my passport. So let's see if I can, I gotta open my video. That'll work. Ha, 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 ha. Can I turn it around? I don't know if I could turn it around, but yeah, I can. So, what I did
Can
was,
you hit screen share? Will it show us better?
I have I just have this page actually printed out. Let me turn the light on. So I think it was last week, G Penn did a video. It was either last week or the week before. He did a group, and in his group we talked about this. Let me
Can you repeat that, Marty? We didn't hear you. Marty, repeat. We didn't hear you.
Oh, I said it was either last week or the week before. There was a group that G Penn did. He did a Zoom meeting, and we kind of talked about the application for the passport. So you have to fill it out a certain way, and then you sign it without prejudice, UCC 1-308, and you want to put your in care of address. There was a couple videos talking about that you don't have to put your social security number, but I put it just because they might ask for it, and they didn't. So it's up to you whether you want to put it there and have problems or put it there and not have problems.
Monty, did you strike out the citizen status?
That's what I was gonna say. On here, there wasn't nowhere that said anything about citizen status.
It's in the black fine print right above your signature, probably the second or third line, and you have to strike out what doesn't apply to you.
Oh, see, and that's what I was trying to figure out.
Those are in the instructions, and Jonah Bay covers that really well.
No, it's the other way around. It's the other way around, and that's why everybody messes up. You got to strike out what you are.
Yeah, I think it even tells you that on the instructions.
It does tell you in the instructions.
I didn't. On these instructions.
Yeah, it tells you.
Okay, see, and I was looking at what you guys were talking about, but I only took a screenshot of the one guy's thing. He's all, take a screenshot. So I took the screenshot and I was looking at that so hard, and did what I believed everything was on his. So on here, I was supposed to cross something out.
Yeah, you're supposed to cross something out. And I believe you're crossing out what you are, not what you're not. Just give me a quick second.
I think the point is that you're accusing yourself of what you've done. You're confessing.
Yeah, I have my application form filled out from when I watched the debate video. I'll scan it in and we can all look at it together.
You're breaking up, David.
I'm breaking up?
A lot of static.
There, I turned my volume down. That helps. No, that is me. That's static.
So, G-Pen.
Yes.
I emailed you 2 emails. The second one is the link on the FMCSA.
Okay.
Open that and show that to people.
All right. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me find part where she's looking for. Proof of citizenship.
In that paragraph, it says U.S. citizen or national.
Right. And you're supposed to cross out, I believe you're supposed to cross out national.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Because it's a trick. It's like, it's opposite of what, like, okay, so in your mind, you're saying, okay, I'm not a U.S. citizen, so I'll cross that out. But in essence, that's saying you are. You know, you understand what I'm saying? It's real tricky the way they do this stuff, and that's the thing. These people are tricky. They're tricky and slimy.
You cross out what applies to you.
Exactly.
See, my mom was telling me that there was something that you had to cross out, and I'm like, well, there's nothing, there's nothing numbered, and that's what I was looking for, was something that was numbered.
No, the DS11. Let me look. I've filled one out, and yeah, I will attest to the whole thing on not putting your social. Because now me and the congressman is having a field day with each other. So let's see here. DS11. Go.
Yeah, I already got it up.
Yeah, but I'm looking for a certain paragraph.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too.
Because it is. I think it's on page 2.
Does Peto say to use the copper stills moonshine instructions?
Not really.
No. Is Sandy still on here, or Dean? Sandy or Dean? Is that what Peto says to do? I'm looking for the link for it right now.
Sorry. Having computer problems. I've not heard him say whose process to use.
Okay.
But on that, where you cross out what does belong, or what you are and not what you are not on that form.
Right.
I also have heard that you're supposed to send the pages in that have some more stuff that you're supposed to be crossing out, even though they say not to send those pages in.
There's a exemplary statement or something that goes along with that to support what you're saying.
See, this is what my mom had sent me. Let's see if I could share my screen. This is what my mom had sent me.
Oh, is it working? Can you guys see my phone?
I just shared my screen. Is the static on? I tried to fix that.
I think it's coming from the 35 number.
Yeah, that's his screen.
Okay, Monty, before you go into yours, these are my notes from watching the Jonah Bay video. And I filled this out as he filled it out. I stopped, paused as much as I could. So see if this matches up to yours. He used all zero. Is that that static's annoying?
Yeah, no, mine definitely does not say that. The place of birth for mine is the place that I was born.
Okay. Go look at page 4 of the DS-11 where it says acts or conditions. Okay?
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
If any of the below mentioned acts or conditions have been performed by or apply to the applicant, the portion which applies should be lined out. See, normally you would think cross out that which don't apply. No, they're wanting you to cross out what does apply.
Because it's a confession.
Yeah. Can everybody see it?
Yeah.
That's reading from right there. And there's another spot on here that it talks about the exemplary statement, and I believe it's somewhere in here. Here it goes here. Here it is right here. I'm going to highlight it right here. Unless exemplary statement is attached.
Explanatory.
Explanatory, thank you. The statements made on the application are true and correct. I have not knowingly and willingly made false statements or false documents in support of this application. Okay? So that's the other piece too. You got to put that in there, that explanatory statement attached.
So I would have to, or I would want to correct my passport application that I just did, right?
Yes. So also on this, okay, and I spent about an hour and a half on the phone with the Department of State. And basically we were attempting to try to get a passport for my daughter who does not have a social security number and does not have, well, even though it's a birth certificate that was used, we were going to submit our own birth certificate, okay? And basically what I was told, and a lot of people don't do this, but, and let me throw this out here, I don't care what you believe, what you want to believe, you know, that's your belief, okay? But on the front of your Bible, in fact, I don't know if I have it. Let me see if I have the cover page on here. If I do, I will share it with you. If I don't, wait. Oh, I think I saw it. Hold on. And what you do, and this is what we did, is we took our Bible and we put that there as the notary, and the notary made a copy and so forth and so on, and we were going to use that to present. All right, here it is. Okay, so basically this is the front cover. This is actually a PDF, but my actual Bible or scriptures have this in here. And you put husband born, father born, mother the husband and the husband's father, mother, the wife, the father, the mother, blah, 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 blah. You go down, married, date, place, children, okay? And you put that in there, okay?
Antique family Bibles have all this.
Well, yes. Mine doesn't.
Say that again.
If you, way back when, let's just say the 20s, 30s, 40s, family Bibles had all this in them.
Right.
Yes. Well, this particular one does too. But for us, this is, according to our belief. And it's the most accurate Bible that I have found as far as pertaining to as close to what was originally written as possible. So, but that can be used, and that was what I was told, okay? Whatever religious documents that you can get, put as many of them as you can in to support your statement and so forth and so on. So, I just want to share that. Okay, so I don't know how to say his name, but he was asking me to do something.
Remember this. It's called, remember, liberty in Latin is libertatum, right? So it's a libertatum.
Okay. All right. So what were you asking?
Liberty.
Here?
I sent you two emails.
Right.
I sent you, the link is in the group too, but the FMCSA link for the United States, show that to people. Because what you were just showing for the United States Incorporated, look at this list.
All right, here it comes.
This is on the FMCSA website.
Wow.
And it gives you the state and the address for every single one of them.
Can you put the link in the chat?
It's in the chat.
I know where Gateway Notes is.
Now, why would it be in the FMCSA? The United States controls commerce. That's the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
Now, I'm wondering, let me see if that's still up there. No, it's not. All right, I got to find it.
The vessels, not the Motor Vehicle Association. They control the vessels within the field of commerce. I just wanted to correct that.
All right, so now.
Now that where I will disagree with you. I am a truck driver. The regulations I have to follow are from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
And you are a vessel. You're dealing with vessels going through the ports of entry.
Yes, that's correct. But that's what Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration regulates. Now that I'll agree with you on.
Right, those corporations are vessels as well.
Yes, that's correct.
But
so I misunderstood what you were saying then. I thought you were saying FMCSA didn't stand for that.
Right, but also the state has one as well, don't they? Each state has one that interacts with the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
I don't know, but I know I looked up some of these addresses.
They do. I'm telling you, they do. Each state.
You showed that to us. That's through their. They have a charter through the motor vehicles. Depending on your, I think you're the one that showed it to us. Under the motor vehicles, they have a charter for the state.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. In fact, here in Georgia, it's called, here it is here. It's under the Department of Public Safety. It's the Motor Carrier Compliance Division. And these vehicles here, you'll see them on the highway. They're not actually police officers, but they're specifically targeting truck drivers, okay? Specifically. And if you go in here, motor carrier compliance, you go into each state's going to have one. And I'm pretty sure that there's a link somewhere for the site that he showed me. Well, actually, hold on. All right, so this is the straight, whatchamacallit. So in here, because we used to have a dot number, even though I'm not a actual truck, over-the-road truck driver, we had a U.S. dot number. And one of the things that they were saying that you had to go in with compliance or something with the state as well. So, but anyway.
So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I've been a commercial driver for 16 years. I got a ticket in Virginia for not having a mud flap on my trailer. I beat that ticket because why? That what you were talking about each state having a charter / contract. They have a contract with the federal government to follow those regulations, and what they're doing is writing tickets outside their delegation of authority because the contract doesn't mandate citations. It only tells them what they have to do to get the federal highway funds. So they don't, but they know the average person doesn't read this stuff.
Well, see, and I have to disagree. I have to disagree with you on that. Basically, we did a Zoom on this last week or the week before. Okay, yeah. This right here is called the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration. Yeah. This here is where all your stuff go. When a cop pulls you over, here's what's coming up: no match, license, eligible, not eligible. Each state reports to this particular site here, and that's how they pull it up. But on top of that, there's something that's called, let me see if I can pull it up. It should have came up. And I don't know why it's not coming up.
Can I interrupt while you're looking for that?
Sure, go ahead.
There's an adhesion contract on the ticket itself. If you look at the driver's license, it's not in your name. Just, you got to learn how to read. The adhesion contract, and I've had a fight with several police officers who are nice gentlemen, and told them that if their citations, and at that time, they stated quite clearly on the back of them that they would charge the driver's license. You had just said that, not G, but the other guy just said that they were there to raise funds. Yes, they are, but the funds aren't from you, but you just can't read, so they take the funds from you as well. You have
well, that's true.
Adhesion contracts, they charge the driver's license, they're charging something else because you don't have to pay. They can stop you, you're in commerce. And G's going to show you some more stuff because he showed it to us before. But you got to keep in mind what they're actually charging. They are actually getting funds, but
your driver's license is an insurance contract according to Patrick Devine or Gene Cage, $11.1 or $2 million, which is supposed to indemnify you from having insurance or causing accidents or paying parking tickets. If I understand where you're coming from.
And I understand what you're saying, that they're charging something. Everything goes back to that account that they're placing liens on, or getting funds through the government through it, it's what we commonly call the straw man, even though the government don't like that word.
We don't call it a straw man. We don't
I
call
know.
it. Yep. We don't. It's a mistake.
It is, but it's the common nomenclature that people understand.
I don't care what the common man does anymore because we did so long. We said the wrong word for so long. We harmed people, and for so long we took it as a joke. And I've apologized for it, and I'm gonna stand strong on this one. Say what it is. You know what it is.
It is a trust account. Yes.
Yep. It's evidence of your trust. You've got to know what it is. If you say something around it, and only to protect others is the only reason why I won't speak freely anymore. I've been short, but what I say.
Okay, so here, while y'all were talking, this was the site I was looking for, but driver's license compacts, okay? So each state signs a compact. That's why when Tatum, there you go, got stopped in Virginia, and he might be from Mississippi, they have an agreement. They have a compact, okay, that they will charge him. Because if I go into from Mississippi, from Virginia into Mississippi, and I get a ticket there, they said, well, you got to charge him. You know what I mean? You got to suspend his license, so forth and so on. But in the process of this, when I did this for our Zoom, I never noticed this down here. I put the link in the chat, but here is the actual driver's license compact. Guidelines for Motor Vehicle Administrators, the Administrative Procedure Manual from 1994, okay? U.S. Department of Transportation, National Highway and Traffic Safety Administration. So I looked at this very briefly, but it's a lot of good information in there. So if you want it, download it, read.
Yeah, send that to me.
Yeah, I put it in the chat. All right. But very, very interesting thing. So, these people are putting compacts together. And in case anybody doesn't know what a compact is, it's an agreement. Social contract. It's a contract. Yeah, exactly. Between them. And they're making rules and so forth and so on.
It's a contract between let's clarify, it's a contract between the states. It's called a compact. Usually they're called interstate compacts.
Yes. And here's the main one. The non-resident violator compact. Okay? Driver's license agreements. A lot of good stuff on this page right here. In fact, I think I'm going to pop this thing on here and send that there.
Turn right on North Carolina 16 North.
All right, going to North Carolina 16 North. All righty.
Yeah, it's time to go find a truck stop.
Oh, that was you.
Yeah, that was me.
Oh.
What state you in, Caleb?
North Carolina.
Yeah, I just said North.
Oh, shoot. So this website has all the compacts for the states almost, right?
Yep, pretty much. That, yeah, and the other one.
Okay, I'm going to let y'all go. My wife.
See you, Caleb. Drive safe.
So I'm gonna ask, because I just need some clarification. Was I supposed to cross out? I lost my page. Was I supposed to cross out what I'm supposedly claiming as, or what I don't want?
Cross out what applies to you.
Applies to you. So then I'd be crossing this part out, this non-citizen national.
And then you got to go to the X of condition.
No, no. You would cross out. You would cross out U.S. citizen. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. You're right. You're right. Non-national. Yep. I'm getting sleepy, y'all.
No, it's okay. It's 5:54 over here in California. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, you would cross out the national. Hey. Oh, somebody took the page down. What? Oh. So wait a second. You just crossed out national. Oh. Oh.
That's what I was gonna say. National on this page is really crossed out.
Yeah, that's a good question. I would actually have to look up those words, and that's the thing. We don't know what the meaning of the definition of those words that they're using. That's another part of the problem.
I'll review the Bay video that taught me how to fill this out. But
Yeah,
I should be sharing my screen. You should see this form in red handwriting.
Yeah, I see it.
Yep. And this
Not
is
much. What's going on with you? Man, you disown me?
You gotta mute yourself.
Rose.
So
Give the scanner and get sick. No. Huh?
what was clear in the video was to not use all zeros for your social, your phone number if you have one, care of address, zip code, United States of America, and then this was the important part. You read the instructions and you cross out, and you strike out national, because you're allowed to strike out what does or does not apply to you according to the instructions. And then he adds this: without the United States, last, first, middle, all lowercase, and then see attachment. And this is where he does his super injunction and his affidavit of dismissal.
I don't have neither of those, the super injunction or the affidavit of dismissal. What I was told to do was, let's see if I can pull up the pictures that I have. That would be the easiest way. I could, pull up the pictures I have and share them to you guys.
You know, while we're waiting on Modi, who here has been paying attention to the Real ID stuff for 2020?
The computer's losing it, but I have to pay attention and I don't really care because if you know what they are, it doesn't matter.
Can you guys see what I'm sharing?
Yep.
Okay, so this is what my mom sent me when I was actually there. And it says right over here to don't underline because they would deny you. And that I was supposed to sign without prejudice, UCC 1-308. And then the other thing that I was going off of was this other, like G was talking about, this other dude, I don't know his name, let's see, Matthew. He helped us too, and he said this is what he did. He did not put his social security, from what I remember. I believe he said he didn't put his social security, and this is how he filled it out. So I filled it out just like he did. And over here, he doesn't cross out anything or underline anything. He just put the without prejudice, and then he does the rest of this stuff.
You know, there's a lot of ways to do this, and if you keep researching and finding other people doing different things, and you don't pull the trigger to see if it's right, you're going to sit here and spin your wheels. When it came to stuff like this with the passport, I trusted Jonah Bay because I trust his information. Now, as Lori says, this is supposed to be PJ's process. This group is dedicated to that. PJ doesn't go into the passport. So if you're going to be dedicated to his stuff, what are you worried about the passport for?
I only thought we needed the passport because it's in the collateral box for PJ's process. So I figured that this was a part of that because it's in the collateral box.
Is it in his videos?
No, you have a very good
The
point.
collateral boxes.
Right, Chris, the collateral box, that sounded like Chris, I'm sorry if it's not. Yeah, the collateral box is, but the passport, he doesn't walk us through the passport. Why doesn't he? Did he skip it?
It's a good point. Very valid point.
No, he mentioned something about it, that he was waiting on it, but he didn't go into it.
Okay, I might have missed that. I mean, it's possible. There's a lot of stuff that just gets glanced over real quick because he's still in the middle of his process.
True.
So who has a passport in here?
I know my mom does, but I don't believe that it's the proper, I would say, format or one that she's looking for.
Well, it should be the one that gives us the supposed diplomatic immunity or do not detain.
Yeah, she doesn't have that one yet. She just has a regular passport. I'm waiting for mine to come back. I got it expedited, so hopefully when it comes back, if this is the proper way to do it, then mine will come back that way. If it's not, then I'll update you guys and we'll see where I went wrong.
Did you cross out anything in the acts of condition paragraph?
No, I did not.
See, I'm currently working on the injunction and the passport at the same time because Jonah Bay's videos highlight that. And I don't mean to keep bringing up Jonah Bay, because those two videos are important to me.
What is the, I'm not sure if I'm going to say this right, but is it the injunction? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's used two ways. One can be used in a court case, and one can be used to be put on the supposed do not detain list, if people believe in there's such a list.
Yes, I do. I was listening to something where there was a guy talking about somebody had their passport and they were pulled over. The officer took their passport cards and he went back and typed in the information. He came back and said, okay, have a good day, and left them alone.
Now, here's another thing that supposedly gets you on the do not detain. And this is something I've picked up, and it's changing your status with the IRS. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can.
So, very simple letter. I sent it certified, and it's noticed it changed status from decedent to non-decedent. Send it to the IRS, one paragraph, use copies of these 3 documents, and you send it off. You're not going to get a reply, but this supposedly changes your status from dead to living, and that changes everything in the system for you.
I've heard that you need to have your will in place before you do that.
I heard that too, but little birdie told me that they're not going to need it because they're not going to know or they're not going to ask for it.
Well, you can't, you need to get your will because you can't change it after you're dead. Okay, your all caps name, your fiction. It needs to happen before it's declared dead.
Well, the person that taught me this, I talked to on the phone the other night. So.
I know. This is part of Harry Baldwin's Coming Alive. What do you call it? Becoming Alive package that I was talking about.
Is that like saying you're not this, instead of saying you're this person, you're somebody else, or you're controlling the estate? Is that what this is?
David.
Yeah.
Answer.
You're claiming the estate in an opposite way of what everybody thinks is claiming the estate. So
okay.
You fix it with the IRS because the IRS runs everything.
There's different
supposedly,
ways.
and you just go in and tell them that you're alive. That's what that document is. And then they go in and say, this person's alive. So that, in theory, and I'm only speculating, in theory, that takes away from claiming the account, filing beneficial ownership, doing the affidavits, doing the authenticated birth certificates. It streamlines your process. And you basically end up as a living person, and none of the laws, statutes, or anything are upheld to you because then they don't govern your account as a decedent. You're the non-decedent and you're alive, so they leave you alone.
He still does affidavit of life.
I didn't get that far.
Okay.
I got as far as what you guys saw, and I mailed it off and it was received. And you don't get a reply.
Well, we've always been figuring out that no reply means it sounds true.
Not always. Did you also send it to the registrar? Birth certificate.
Lori, are you asking me?
Yeah, did you also send it to the registrar of your birth certificate and the Secretary of State and the Social Security and the Treasury?
There was no need. IRS supposedly trumps all.
Okay.
So that's why I did it. Just in case I'm spinning my wheels and other processes, I figured I'd give that a try and see what happens.
Will you double check that, David? Because I think he does have that list of people, agents, or offices that you are supposed to send it to. Would you double check, please, just for your sake?
I will.
Okay.
That was the only place I was instructed to send it to.
Okay.
So I have finished my travels. I am trying to put together a class, although I'm about to travel again for the next 3 weeks. I do want to cover this debt validation, credit repair stuff in thorough detail for everyone. I glanced over it a couple weeks ago, and I promised in the group chat that I would go into great detail and give examples of how to go kick debt collectors' asses. If that's still a subject of interest, I'll put it together. However, you're going to have to bear with me through my travel schedule.
You're going to guide us through, but I don't want to call it a class because that kind of means that you're with knowledge. And if you're with knowledge, you're considered a professional and you have liability. Okay, so you're just guiding us through and sharing your knowledge. I mean, your study materials. Okay?
If that's what you want to say, yes, okay.
All right.
Is that of interest?
Yes, we all want to hear that.
Okay.
Yes.
Any new study group is a good study group.
No, it's not a study group, it's a call. And this is in the realm of my profession. I do run a credit repair business.
So are you going to post it someplace so we can look for it, or?
It'll be in Marie's call. It'll be in this group's call. I just have to organize myself so I can put it all together for you.
Okay, great.
I've gotten my hands on some new debt validation strategies, so I need time to prepare the debt validation documents. And after my travels, I was a busy boy. I tried to get caught up on the last Zoom calls, and Marianne did talk about some of the stuff I helped her with. So it's basically new and improved information, and I'll go over it thoroughly. And Marianne's gotten results. I don't know if you guys watched the Zoom or anything. And Monty, I did get your email. It just got buried, so I apologize if I didn't get back to you.
No, it's okay. I can email you again.
Well, wait until I get my new documents put together. I just need the time to do it.
Okay.
That's pretty much, excuse me, I gotta go check something. I'll be right back.
Are there any more creditor study group questions or things to discuss? Did you get everything taken care of that you wanted to, Madi?
I believe so. I got my gold pen. I have most of my stamps. Some of the stamps, when I was signing them, I messed them up, so I have to re-notarize some things and get more stamps and redo them. And I just have everything pretty much figured out. Right now, I'm going through all 3 of my packs and checking to see what needs what and what pages I messed up on. So I think I'm doing very well, other than I need to get them signed and uploaded into some UCCs. I'm still having trouble finding the non-UCC part on the Secretary of State website. Other than that, everything is going swell for me.
Okay. You can keep your, as a general rule, you can keep your canceled stamps, and you could put them on documents, because a canceled stamp, when it's canceled with black ink, the delivering post office's zip code and the date, those are obligations of the United States Corporation to protect you from fraud. You don't always have to keep using new stamps.
Can you say that one more time?
You can use canceled stamps. So just because you messed up some stamps doesn't mean you need to throw them away. As a general rule, you can keep your canceled stamps and use them like on documents.
You mean like old stamps?
That's right.
Oh, no, I'm talking about like when I was writing my signature in my estate EIN, my handwriting got kind of sloppy and it's non-legible. Or I misspelled my name.
Yeah, you were using the $1.15 stamps, right? International?
Yeah.
I mean, I would not throw that away. I would keep it. You could use that for mailing probably. You didn't use black ink on it yet, did you?
No, I already signed it with the gold ink across the top, and it's already stuck on my page, on my document.
So you're just going to leave that? You're not, I thought you were going to just start over.
Yeah, I'm going to have my, the person who does my notary come over and just re-notarize a copy of one of them, and I'm just going to shred these.
Okay, you can use those stamps though.
Even if they're, oh yeah, I guess I could glue it, huh?
Yeah.
Well.
Monty?
Yes.
I think the non-UCC you're looking for, it's a checkbox on the UCC form.
Oh yeah, I know, but when I go through here in California, when we do it online, it's like, how do I explain it? It's
PJ says to use New York.
Oh yeah, okay, that'll work then.
He says use New York as much as, and it's cheaper in California. I looked it up, but all his documents, everything refers to the filings in New York, and he says use New York. So use New York. Maybe that'll help.
Okay.
Am I supposed to talk? Am I supposed to do something? What do you guys want?
Are we done? Did you have something to share, David?
I didn't. I just kind of jumped in last minute, and I'm making zucchini fries.
Okay.
That's something.
Thanks for helping.
I did what I could. I hope I helped.
Lori, do you have anything especially about court to share with us? Or just leave us with a very good thought?
Basically, if you don't know how to handle yourself in court, or you're getting angry, or something's coming back from court that you don't like, they'll give you the answers. Stay calm and know that nobody's trying to defraud you. Find out why it's happening. It's a process. That's the key thing I heard today. People don't understand the process. They're on the right path, but they're not getting the process. They're getting angry at the people that are having their rear ends in the chairs when they have a duty. Know what the duty is, and there's something that we're not doing is why we're getting paperwork back the way we don't want it. Something we have is not right. Put the blame on ourselves first, and that takes away a lot of the anger.
Agreed.
That's the key thing I found out in court was instead of getting mad at everybody else, get mad at myself first. There's something they're trying to tell me, and they will tell you. And there are some ugly people, and they do have fraud and all the other stuff. Get past that. Get past the conspiracy. Just look at the office and what they're doing. And if you want to watch something over the week to give you the basics of what happened to you, this is totally outside of pedo stuff, but Rod Class has, I think, I don't remember how many episodes. It's called Manifest Station. And it goes through the congressional records that his team has done. He did this many years ago. It's good to show you what happened, how things are happening. And he talks to you about their duties, what they do, what they're responsible for. He's a good one to get you set in the right mindset that it's a process. It's administrative. Get away from the admiralty and the common law and the equity and all that stuff. Give yourself a good foundation of the administrative process, because that's what the judges and the attorneys have to start out with. Look at the process, then get into common law and equity and admiralty. Give yourself a good basics of what happened to us, and that would give you a good basics of what happened to us. He goes into this stuff a little bit, but it'll give you an idea what they're doing behind the scenes. And when you watch it, you'll go, hey, I get that part. And hey, there's more to that. So then we'll also give you a taste of, hey, I get this little part of something. I know there's more to it. Or maybe you don't get that there's more to it. And you got to look and see how things fit together. That's a really good one to start off with. They're each an hour long. They're very good. It gives you good basics. If you don't have a basic understanding of what's going on, and you don't get why people talk about the Bible in court and things like that, go to Rod Class's Manifest Station. I think 4 is hard to find. They're all on YouTube. Watch those, get a good basics of what happened. And remember, we the people have a duty under the Constitution to make this stuff not happen. So we the people allowed it to happen by not having the knowledge. You can't blame Congress because everybody that did this is dead. We have to blame ourselves, and we're trying to figure out how to get out of it. So that's basically all I have to say.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got a question if I can ask.
Yes.
When I put in a written objection to a judge's order, does that stop that order from going through until there's a hearing on it?
Depends on your status, who you are. And if the judge is in control of that court, no. Does that answer your question?
No, I don't.
Isn't the objection supposed to be heard?
Well, no, I haven't had a hearing yet. I've just been putting stuff into the record. There hasn't been a hearing yet. After 8 months, there hasn't been a hearing.
Are you still a minor in their eyes?
No.
Have you claimed your estate?
Yes.
Well, then, if they don't have a court case, then you control the court. You're the judge. But are you doing it in camera, or you send it into the clerk?
I have to go down and actually put it into the clerk record, because if I send it by mail, they'll just throw it in the trash can. They don't put it into the record.
Whoa.
I've gone down, and that's the only time I can get them to file stamp it saying that they're going to put it into the record.
You need to go to the rules of court, and you need to change yourself over to the district court as well. That's why you may not have had court yet, is because it belongs in the district court, not in the lower court. They can't hear you, not in a lower court. I don't remember the exact rule, but rules of court, you can transfer yourself to the district court.
Well, the clerk and the judge both have been defaulted by administrative process.
Doesn't matter. You don't belong in that court. If you've achieved through equity your estate, then you only belong in district court, and their lower court can't touch you. So you have not done that yet. You have to transfer yourself to district court and go through an equity. If you're messing with the lower court, you're causing them controversy. You're harming them. You can cause harm to these people, not knowing it. So you're causing them more controversy by not going to the district court. Does that make sense?
Well, I tried to remove it, and the federal judges do not, no matter what, whatever I would write for a complaint, according to all their rules, they try to say it's not right. So.
Then you're missing something.
Well, yeah, I'm not a, person who knows how to write a complaint, but I've followed what other people did and tried to, frame it the way that they want it and according to their rules.
But it's not what they want, it's what you want. It's your will. And it can't be, they will know if it's somebody else's paperwork and you don't know it. You've got to know what you're putting in, and those courts will know that. Don't ask me how, they just know. But you've got to go to the rules of court to transfer it.
Sorry, Lori, it took me a minute to unmute myself. So I see that the lower court, you're causing damages by not dealing with what they're doing. So what about removal? Or am I half listening to something?
Yeah, you're right. You need to remove yourself to the higher court. I don't remember what the words are right now because he's catching me off guard. But you remove yourself through the rules of court to the higher court, because someone that's claimed their estate, someone that knows what they're talking about, goes in through equity only through the U.S. district courts. The lower courts can't handle it.
So a mistake that we've all made at this point is we're in court and we haven't claimed our estate. Can you briefly walk through claiming the estate?
That's what I'm here to learn, to claim the estate.
Okay, so am I.
Yeah, right. So the thing is, under USC or 31 CFR 31 CFR 363.3 or 6, I can't remember the definition of a minor. It's someone that hasn't claimed their estate.
So this is where you do the affidavit of beneficial ownership.
It's up to you. How are you going to claim the estate? So
Well,
you claim it, and you go to the higher courts. If you're in the lower court, you're causing them damage. You're harming them. You're causing controversy. You're being incompetent. And I'm not calling anyone here competent, but the one going to the lower courts is being incompetent by not going to the higher court.
why are they calling me into the lower court?
They need to go into the higher court because it's US 50. Hold on, I've got it. US 50 USC. Where is it?
All right, so they called me into a lower court. I'm trying to argue, not arguing, I'm trying to handle the matter. They're not listening to me, and I have to remove this to a higher court where they're creating the controversy, and I have to take it to a higher court than them. I see what you're saying, I just don't follow the logic.
It's under the Lieber codes. It's under Title US, I think it's Title 50, Appendix 7C and E. You've got to take it to the higher court in equity because you're claiming your estate. They're trying to trespass on your estate. They're trying to do business with an attorney because they always assign an attorney for you. And you have to go and show them that you don't need an attorney. You have to usually go on the private side of the court to do this. And you have to be very careful not to harm any of the judges.
My situation is not dealing, I don't have an attorney, I am my attorney. And the courts are doing whatever they want, and I am fighting tooth and nail to get this thing quashed or removed or done and settled. Pick a statement or pick a term, and I just want to be out of it.
I don't know what you're doing, but usually you accept what they're doing. They're trespassing because your estate can afford it, and you settle the matter. You know, what do you need to do? You talk to the judge, what do you need to do, or the prosecutor, what do you need to do to settle the matter? And
he put fines in.
I thought we weren't supposed to accept anything because that means we're contracting with them, and we don't want to contract with them at all whatsoever.
You're not contracting with them, your estate is. You're managing their affairs.
But if you're accepting something from them, then that means you're being willing, and you're saying that I will contract with you by accepting something. We don't want to accept anything.
Acquiescence.
Yeah.
You acquiesce to their jurisdiction by playing their game.
You already they already have you in their jurisdiction, though. That's the jurisdiction game doesn't work.
No, yes, and I know where I see what you're saying, and I agree. The jurisdiction, we're in the jurisdiction, birth certificate, driver's license, all that stuff.
You're not. Your means, the state is, and the collapse of trust. You have to get the equitable title and the legal title and join them in that collapse of trust. So that's what they've done to you because they've already identified you. So they're in your trust now. Okay, in your case, David, they're already in your trust. They've already identified you. They're not listening to you because now they're pulling and draining the trust. You need to accept the charges and offset it. Ask them what they need to do to settle the matter.
I've expressed that several times, and they're not doing that.
Did you express that with the prosecutor or the judge?
Both, and the clerk on record. They're playing their own game.
Did you accuse them of trespassing against your estate?
Not yet, because I didn't set up my estate.
Your estate's already set up for you. You just have to claim it.
Right, and by claiming it, I'm asking, do I send an affidavit of ownership to where my straw man was registered? What do I, do I put it on the record of my county? That's how do I claim my estate? That's what I was asking.
I'll have to talk to you offline on that because I'm not going to talk on an open.
That's fine, and I did.
But I can let you know what I've heard, but I'm not doing that on this chat.
No, that's fine. You send me a PM, and I did get your message, by the way.
Yeah. And no offense to anybody, it's just some things are private, and that's something it makes it harder on all of us.
We're all here to learn, and I'm really getting upset of people. I can't say this to you. I can't do this to you. I'll do it to you offline. You know, why are we here then?
I agree with you, Chris. That's why I was arguing, well, not arguing, but putting forth that energy towards when I was asking where are people who can sign for my surety signatures. It doesn't make sense if we're all here working together every Friday saying that we don't trust each other or whatever the case may be, and we're all meeting up and talking on these chats so we could learn the same thing if the other person isn't going to give forth the information. I feel like if you're not going to give forth the information, then maybe you shouldn't be here.
Can I answer that, please? And I'll answer it respectfully. More people than just the people in this room listen to these calls. You don't know them. You're responsible for what you say. I know because I've been in court over it and I've seen it happen. You must be respectful of all parties involved, and a lot of them aren't here. They're called the federal government and the courts. So when someone says what I'm saying, it's because we've been in court. We know what the effects are, and if someone's not responsible and wants to take the knowledge I have, and I'm not saying anybody in this room right now, but somebody else that may be listening to it later, it's harmful. It's harmful to mankind. And I'm very cautious because of the court cases I've been in. And it's a respect that somebody can only go through what I've gone through. And it was tough. All I can say is it's a responsibility with this knowledge, and that's why it's so hard for us to attain and so hard for us to get, is because we have to be responsible with it. It's nothing against anybody sitting in this room. It's against those that would go and take the knowledge.
So you're saying that they don't listen to your email, that they don't follow the chat. Who are you? They follow everything. So everything you say or do on any internet is transferred and recorded, and they do watch everything. So if you say it here or if you say it privately, it's recorded.
True.
You didn't hear what I said about others other than the government that listen.
And it depends on who you're talking to, because if somebody's going to dive into the deep end and not know the basics, then you're liable, and then you have to answer questions, and you're babysitting them, and next thing you know, you're in a situation you don't want to be in. If I'm paraphrasing Lori a little bit.
Thank you.
But that's where I'm coming to say is it comes to certain people that we are coming on here every week to learn this information, and we're building relationships with people in the group, but other people in the group that have the knowledge aren't willing to give it because they feel other people are going, what would I say, babe? They're going to treat it wrong, or they're not fully going to understand, comprehend, and go out and try to do the work and fuck it up. Excuse my language. But if that's what the person does, then I mean, honest to God truth, that's on them for not paying attention and not correctly learning what they needed to learn before they went out and did the work. That's part of being an adult, as I'm learning. I'm only 23.
Marty, are you confident enough to teach anything you've learned right now? Because that's what you're asking.
I actually have.
Can you teach me what you've learned right now? Because you're asking us on this call to teach something we have not perfected.
Correct.
You're doing that anyway. You're doing that anyway. Having this chat means that all of you as a collective are trying to work together to use information that you're gaining at the same time to utilize it.
Yes, and we work together to get stronger. If it takes somebody extra conversations to get to a point where they're willing to share, then fine, they can share. But right now, people are not strong enough to share everything exactly.
And that's
all in your confidence. If you're not confident enough to utilize what you have on hand, at least to reach out to others who want to know what you know, then what are you standing here soliciting the information for two people?
And that's what I was saying. If you don't fully know what you're talking about, like I get on here and say, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is what you guys are talking about. I'm gonna give an example. When we were on the conversation with G last week or the week before, I said something and somebody says, look, this is what you're talking about. This is actually what it is. Somebody else might actually have the knowledge that you don't fully understand or grasp and might be able to help you if you put your knowledge out there. But nobody's not going to know. Closed mouths don't get fed, basically. If you don't put it out there so somebody can help you figure out what you need to figure out, then you're not going to know. Period.
Are you accusing me of not sharing my knowledge?
I want to say something. When you have 25 men with guns pointed at you, ready to kill you, you get a little bit quiet.
Oh, I've been there. I've been there. Trust and believe. Trust and believe.
I am a certified gang member. Yes. I've had military rifles pointed at me by people who would take my life due to the clothes I'm wearing.
Just because.
Screw my idealism.
Yeah, just because who my husband is. I've had the Elk Grove Police Department pull me out of my car.
Fight with us. This here, we are more than confident. We are belligerent.
Thank you. Thank you very much, babe. So don't come to me talking about having 25 people having guns, because yes, I was in the courtroom and I went in there talking about, oh, there's I have my rights of I would like to subrogate my rights, and 25 police officers did come in and remand me because I was asking for my rights of subrogation.
Like, come on, man. It's not about personal accusation of what you've been through in this life. It's whether or not you're willing to utilize that to help somebody else who doesn't have to go through that. And they shouldn't have to go through what you went through to be able to gain the information that you have from you. That doesn't make any sense.
Because honest to God truth, I'm not in any of your guys' situations. I'm homeless. My car is broken down. I'm staying at somebody's houses who doesn't want me here. I'm using their address. That you guys are in a better position than I am. And I'm getting a lot further than this. And people are coming to and asking me for help with this process. That's why I'm saying some of the stuff I do understand and I do know. And yes, I do tell other people out here in Sacramento that this is what you can do. But I don't know 100% everything. And the reason being is because I don't know who was just talking, but people like that who have the information and they would rather go share it privately.
Hey folks, it's been a fun call. I'm leaving. You guys have a good night.
Good night, David. Thank you for helping.
You're welcome, Marie, anytime. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Good night.
I think it's important to hear you, Madi, okay? And compassion is important. You're going through a lot, and all of that pain is helping you to have the fire to quickly get through the process.
It's not even that I'm going through the pain and dealing with that. It's like my husband saying, it's that this government, ever since I was little, I've always known something big was going to happen in my life. I didn't know what it was going to be, and now that I'm finally getting into this, it's something that I can do, that I'm understanding, and I actually want to take part of, but I can't take part in it if people don't want to help me get the information I need. And it's just agitating to be in these groups every week, actually learning things, but hearing that I can't hear the in-depth part of what actually I need to know. It's upsetting because I want to learn and know more, but if my teacher's not teaching me more, showing me more, then I'm not going to get anywhere with it.
It might just take a little bit more effort. Like if somebody needs to talk about something privately, then go ahead and ask them privately if they can go ahead and talk to you about it as well.
And that's the other thing that I stem from is I did a private conversation, and the last time I did a private conversation, everybody asked me if I could do my private conversation in the group chat, so everybody in the group chat could know what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm the only person doing that, why isn't everybody else? Why isn't everybody else putting their private conversations into the group chat?
Mm-hmm.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So basically, you were on our call a couple weeks ago, and I understand you're going through something. We're all going through something. But one of the things that has to occur is that you have to, and I'm speaking to you, Marty, directly.
Yeah, I hear you.
You have to learn to listen. I know you're mad. I know you're upset. So am I.
No, I'm not upset. I'm just agitated and irritated with the fact that people feel like they aren't confident enough to finish giving off the knowledge that's needed.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to say this. Now, usually when I do my Zooms and when I put stuff out there, it's stuff that I have done.
Yeah, I know. That's why I like listening to yours.
Okay. So I did a Zoom a couple of months ago on how to get the information for a box holder and basically how to find people who do their change of address. And I told, not once, not twice, not 3 times. If I said it 3 times, I said it 100 times. If you're going to do this process, be honorable in what you're doing. Do it for the right reason. Don't do it to try to find your ex-wife so you can go over there and beat her up or some fraudulent freaking.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
and because the thing of it is this: if you get this information and you did it fraudulently, it tells you right on the form you're going to jail.
Yeah.
Period. So I'm telling y'all the stuff, and I'm trying to give information out, and people want to freaking do it their way. This is not Frank Sinatra. This is not Burger King. This is not the Isley Brothers. This is not anything about your way. It's one way. If something is, if I'm telling you to do something, and this is the correct way to do it, just do it. Don't be ad-libbing and so forth and so on. And so, you know, it gets frustrating. And I'm saying this from a teacher's position. If I'm telling you this and I'm giving the information freely, and I'm telling you this is how you do it, and then you turn around and then you do something your way, or you want to argue and this, that, and the other, guess what? It puts me in a position that I'm just going to shut my mouth and not say a freaking word. Okay?
And that's where I was coming to say everybody's been to high school. We all know that there's class clowns. At the end of the day, we have to be the bigger person and move past that person who did not pay attention in class and decided to go off on their own tangent, because there are students and people who want to follow exactly what the teacher says, like how PJ said something in his video and somebody asked a question, he says, because I said so, or that's how it is. It doesn't matter. Just do it this way. That's what I said. Either you do it or you don't. Your teacher told you this is how it's done, then this is how it should be done. If they say that this is how it's done, but you need to put your own information into it, then that's when you go off on your own tangent and find what fits with you. But if there's a certain way that things have to be done and people don't pay attention to that process, that's their own fault. We all are adults.
Yeah, but it doesn't, okay, perfect example. When I discharged my car 2 years ago, there was about 10, 15 people who jumped on me and called me a liar. They called me, a fraud and this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. And then they wanted proof. And then, the only proof that I could offer them was to show them my damn bank statement where it says that there's nothing on there. You don't see a car. You see that there's a car loan there, but you don't see a balance. There's nothing there. Whereas you look directly next to it, my credit card, it says you got a available credit of $400. got a balance of 100, blah, 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 so forth and so on. And so eventually, after they figured out that what the hell I was saying was for real, then all of a sudden everybody wants to hit me up in private. Can you give me the process? Can you give me the process? You know, and at that particular point in time, you know, my brother died. I was facing a auction of my house. I was going through some other issues, and nobody cared about that. And so basically, you know, I said, well, listen, I can't do this individually. Let's do a Zoom, $25. You know, everybody chip in. You know, I'll take one day and just go ahead and do this and get it over with instead of trying to tell this one, and taking up all the time where I got other stuff I got to do. And eventually asked for $25 and nobody wanted to chip in. So I was like, screw it, I'll keep the information to myself. And that's what it got, because I got pissed, you know, one, of all the criticism, and then two, everybody wants to bash, and then they want something for freaking free. You know,
and then,
wants me something.
And that's the other thing I say where being an adult comes into play. Like I said, I'm only 23. But at the end of the day, what people think, thoughts, all of that, criticism, none of that matters. What matters is who actually wants to put in the work and do what needs to be done at the end of the day. And those people are the people who are getting the shit end of the stick, basically.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're right on that.
And like my husband's always saying, you owe it to yourself to know it for yourself. If somebody's telling you that's not true, that doesn't matter, then obviously you don't need to waste your breath on them. Don't tell them. They don't care. They don't want to know. And when you come back and have everything set up and you actually do have proof and they're asking, hey, well, can you show me? Hey, when I was trying to show you, you wanted to tell me I was a liar and it wasn't true. So look at where you are and look at where I am. How about them apples?
Exactly.
That's why I get on these meetings every Friday, to see what you guys are talking about, to see what's going on. But honestly, the past couple of weeks, we haven't really been talking about anything worth talking about because nobody wants to put forth that information. It's all out there. We all know what's going on, and everybody has bits and pieces, but people don't feel confident enough. And at one point, I was that person, but now I'm getting on every week and talking with you guys. People have to step up. And if you're scared, don't get on the call. Don't say anything. Because there's people out here who are not scared and actually want to learn and actually go out and do things. And if you're telling people, and excuse my language again, pussyfooting around, then that's what you're going to get. Pussyfooting around answers and bullshit when it comes to going to these offices. And that's not what I'm looking for. At the end of the day, we all know what we're doing. So let's stop acting like we don't and actually come together and figure it out like a group is supposed to do. Now, my last question I have is on the W-8. Are you supposed to put your stamps on there too and sign it? All I hear is crickets.
I think the person that was would have answered left the room.
Okay. Yeah, that's the
think
only question I have.
Okay, I think it's important for you to be able to, express yourself and to process your emotions and let us know where you're at, what you're going through. And I want to give somewhat of the other side of the picture. Some people who are experienced, let's say, have already given a lot, and they've learned through trial and error that they need to be a little bit more careful. So that's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to trust themselves. And I think that's a good thing to respect when somebody's trying to trust themselves. And, but, we still share, and we are doing what we can. It's not always noticeable. It's not always visible. And we're all in different stages. That's all.
And the trust yourself is where I was saying that if you're not confident enough, then I feel like you shouldn't be speaking.
Well, confidence or not, I want to welcome people in as long as they can be polite. That's a big thing with me. Be polite. And everybody, sees things differently. Okay, there's a very wide spectrum for that. I'm much slower than you. All right, I see things different than you. I might think that some of the things that you're doing are wrong, but it's your choice, and I'm letting you do it. Okay? I'm not going to hammer you. I try to lead, but people tend to not heed my advice. Okay?
And that's where I was saying you can't be upset with yourself because you gave somebody information and they went and did the wrong thing, because that's not you. That's not your fault. And if you are feeling guilty or upset or feel bad, sorry, however you're feeling about somebody else going off and doing something wrong, that is a personal problem. And I apologize if I make anybody upset or mad with what I'm saying, but it's true. You do not need to take other people's actions and feel guilty about what they did wrong. It's not your fault they did something wrong.
Well, that's a liability. It's a legal liability, especially signing for surety. They're taking on a lot, and nobody should be pressured into that.
And it's also a point that, granted, I told them, they went and did it. That's on them. I get that. And I understand that. But in the same essence, it's just like this. I got a gun. And this gun is very powerful. And as an instructor, it is my job to teach you how to use this gun. And if you don't use it correctly, it can cause you harm or others harm, or me, myself harm. And what I mean by that is the fact that if I go out here and this process works, somebody goes in there and they screw it up, now it makes it harder for somebody else who's coming behind to try to duplicate what we did. Or, as we all know, these people will mess around and change the process, which makes my job hard, because I have done all of this research and I have done all of the steps necessary to get this to work, and then somebody comes along and screws it up. So it pisses me off, and then it also pisses me off in the fact that, somebody else now comes back and says, well, it didn't work, because somebody else freaking mickeyed with what was supposed to be done. And so now it calls into question my character. I don't know about everybody else, but for me, my character is all I have. And I try to be honest and honorable and so forth. And so that people will trust me, because I understand the responsibility of this information.
And that's like when PJ just did this last meeting, he was telling us how to get information for something, but the process was changed. Now, in the process of him explaining to us how to get this information, somebody else told him the new way of how to get this thing that we needed. And that's all I'm saying. You may know something that might be outdated or have information to getting something done, and another person can help. If, as long as you put the information out there, at least somebody else can say something or add on to it that maybe we don't know or something. And what you were talking about is somebody going out and doing that work. My mom, like I was telling you guys earlier, I went into a court case and asked for my rights of subrogation. Now, my mom told me I had to go out and do the research for that. She gave me certain things that I needed to know, but it was me, my personal choice to go into that courtroom with what knowledge that I thought I knew and actually press that issue. It's not my mom's fault that I got remanded in court for going in there and asking for that. Yes, she could feel bad because she's the one who told me, but I still went in there with that knowledge that something bad might be able to happen if I did this. If I do this wrong, I could go into jail. And that's what ended up happening. And that's where being an adult comes into play, where we need to know that if I don't do this properly, there are repercussions that can happen. So I need to pay attention to what I'm doing and fully understand and know what's going on.
Anybody have anything else? Are we done?
Honey, I put something on your messenger.
In Facebook?
Yeah, regarding the W-8.
Okay. I think we're done. It doesn't seem like anybody else has anything to say or is saying anything.
Okay. I want everybody to feel welcome to be able to join, but sometimes it gets uncomfortable and they're welcome to leave as well. But I want everyone to be respected. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye, everybody. I'll post the, yeah?
Thank you, Marie.
You're welcome.
You do a great job.
Thank you. Thanks for being an inspiration.
I try to be. I just want everybody to share what they know, even though you feel like you don't know something, get on there and say, I'm not 100% sure, but this is what I think it is. Because me personally, and I know the rest of the people in the group, we don't want you to feel wrong or have the wrong information about what we're talking about, because everything is serious. All this stuff is real serious. So if you have something to say, get on there and say it, even if you're feeling nervous, because I know sometimes I feel nervous myself. But things have to be said so we could learn, you guys. That's what we come on these groups every Friday for, so we could learn. So let's learn together.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Okay, see you next week. Bye-bye.